Well, thank you guys tuning in. Drew and Shannon, thank you guys for jumping on. Drew and Shannon are a couple. We just sold their house this past weekend. We wanted to do a quick video because we know there's a lot of people out there that maybe have a desire to sell, to make a move, to kind of turn that page in the chapter of their life, but they're just really hesitant. They feel like no matter what we tell them or information we share with them, that the market is just not good right now. Drew, Shannon, there's a lot of people that just feel like real estate is falling off the cliff, with everything going on. So I appreciate you guys getting on. So real quick, where do you guys live? What was the price that we listed your home at? And when did you list your home? Just to give folks a little bit of context.
We live in the west end of Richmond, near the Gaskins exit of 64. We listed our house on Thursday, just this past Thursday. What was the date of that?
I don't remember.
Well, it's all right. We'll double it.
On Thursday, and in a matter of, an hour, we were starting to get requests for showings, and
we had two showings that day.
And it just turned into several over the next 2 days. We listed for $284,900.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 2 offers by Friday morning. It was absolutely astounding. We were so shocked to have so much interest in the house. So that's very clear that there are absolutely buyers out there. No question.
And we had tried to sell in July of this past year and unsuccessfully. And the amount of interest that we had just this time versus last time in much, much longer of a time frame was astounding.
We had 2 open houses and
last year.
Yeah. And we're probably on the market for 60 days maybe. Yeah. And we had not one offer and not nearly as much interest. This is the same house. We've done no additional work since last year.
A little bit, but
tiny bits, but
major.
Nothing major that would have changed. It's really the market. It's Chris.
Oh, you guys making me fun. All right, so let's talk about Corona, because that's obviously the kind of the buzz around today. What fears or concerns did you guys have specifically going onto the market, making a move, given the climate? Maybe before we even chatted, I'm sure there was some late night conversations of, is now the right time? What were those fears that you might have had?
Personally, I don't know about you, but I didn't have any fears specifically about it because I'm not super educated in the marketing sphere. So I wanted to make sure that we selected a realtor who we trusted enough to kind of help us understand. And that's why we chose you, Chris, and I think that in our conversation that we've had, you established yourself as, a source of expertise for this and a human being that we trusted. And I'm glad that we did, because you did provide us with, in my opinion, unbiased information in regards to the pandemic and its effect on the market itself, never making any promises, but providing us with insight and context so that we could make an educated decision.
Right. And one of the things that we were worried about was having strangers come through our house. Obviously, with everything being closed down, our house has been kind of a little bubble where we control who comes in and out. We control what items come in and out, and we clean them. So it was really a little scary thinking about people coming through, but you assured us and provided us with Clorox wipes, and that people were going to be safe, that people weren't going to be encouraged to touch things. So it's really just been probably kind of doing the same thing that you guys always do, but just with a little extra carefulness about it, so that everyone is safe who's walking through, and everyone is safe who is coming back home. And the other thing is, you have to assume that the people who are coming here are serious, because people during a pandemic, I wouldn't imagine, are going to go traipsing through a house if they're not at least a little bit certain that they want to see it. Whereas maybe before, people might come to open houses just to be nosy. I think that those kinds of things maybe dropped off, and you really only have your serious buyers coming in, which is actually a better thing than a normal non-pandemic situation.
And let's be real, nobody's going to enter a stranger's house and just start rubbing things. Especially now, no, like you said, they're going to be serious about it, and they're going to be taking the proper precautions just like we did.
And it always felt safe and clean, and the little trash can had wipes in it, so people were clearly using them. So I think, when you have professionals guiding their clients through the house, they're going to have that professional courtesy. So I never one time felt unsafe or that the house wasn't taken care of or respected when it was being shown.
Awesome. And guys, let's be clear. I mean, if we are not saying like, hey, if you've got underlying health issues, if you've got maybe somebody in that high risk category, this is probably not the right time for you. But for two young, healthy adults, when we're doing the right things, like you guys said, I think there's a safe way to operate and to do this. Man, you guys kind of hit on a lot of the questions I had. Talked about that. I guess, we'll just end it simply. What would you guys say to another couple, another person that's maybe in the same situation as yourself? Maybe they've got some reservations. Maybe they, kind of just back and forth, like, hey, is this something we should do? What would you tell that person or those persons?
To your point, obviously people who are not at a high risk of becoming sick and are taking 110% of all the precautions they can, really there hasn't been anything different. If you're ready, there are buyers out there. It was evident in us having 14 showing requests right off the bat. There are people who want to buy houses. So if you want to sell a house, it's not a bad time to do it because it's still happening and it's being done safely. And I think that that's kind of the way things are going to start going. And real estate might have just been a little ahead of the curve here because, everything's going to be opening with differences. And that's kind of what's happening here. You're not going to be able to go sit at a restaurant, eat the same way you did before, or shop the same way you did before. Same thing here, but we've already adopted those practices and you can see what works. So it's been a great experience so far. And the pandemic really hasn't had much of a negative effect on our experience.
If anything, it's made the market a little bit more desirable for us to sell our home anyway, because of all the points we've made so far. But my biggest thing is in our life, we make sure that we establish good connections, good relationships with a lot of the companies we work with, whether it's an auto mechanic or elsewhere. I work for a small business myself, so personal connection, integrity, and trust is really important to me, because that's what the company I work for is built off of, and I take it very seriously. Yep. And honestly, the connection that we formed with Chris Elliott and his team has been fantastic. The communication has been outstanding. And really, if you have good communication with a party that you trust, you can make it work, period. And that is a huge deal, and it can't be understated.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. 100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for jumping in. We look forward to getting you to the closing table. We look forward to finding you your next home now. We actually got to go.
Yes.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And for anybody watching, if you have any questions, concerns, if we can answer any questions about your specific situation, drop a comment or shoot us a DM, and we'll see you on the next video.